Okay, all right. Well, I'm Russ Henry, and this is my beautiful wife, Chesney Enquist, and we're the owners of Minnehaha Falls Landscaping and the founders of Be Safe Minneapolis.
And we're here today at Minnehaha Falls Park to share some of our story.
So let's see. We met at a park in Minneapolis, up by the Walker Sculpture Garden.
Mm-hmm.
And I was volunteering in the park. I was talking with folks about soil health.
That's right. And I was there working on a project for the parks, an edible garden. And I was meeting all the folks who were working there that day, and I remember coming across Russ at the Homegrown booth, and I said, "What is Homegrown Minneapolis anyway? I've been trying to figure it out." And in the meanwhile, Russ handed me a can of worms. And that can of worms has multiplied into a few gallons of worms in our basement as part of our compost operation.
Yeah. Chesney came along, and I thought, who's that pretty girl? So I started talking to her about soil health and worms and gardens, and I was handing out worms, giving away red wiggler compost worms as a part of my little display that I was doing. And so I gave Chesney some worms and traded her for her phone number. And then, we actually do use those worms, still growing the families and generations of worms out in the compost bins that we use for our liquid compost treatments on our organic lawn properties that we take care of for Minnehaha Falls Landscape.
Mm-hmm. And I love actually that our meet cute happened in a park, because the way Russ and I got to know each other was working on different parks projects. So the first project we did was a lot of volunteering and community outreach around urban agriculture, and learning how the community wanted to grow food and compost and all of those good things in the parks. And then after that, we started working on helping the parks transition to organic.
Yeah. We have been involved working with transitioning the parks to organic and community food friendly for 8 or 9 years now.
Mm-hmm.
And along the way, as a part of it, we put on a campaign for Park Board, for Minneapolis Park Board, and we were on the Minneapolis Parks Pesticide Advisory Committee, mm-hmm. where we advise the parks on how to end the use of Roundup in the park system. And at the same time, we help the schools do the same thing, eliminating Roundup in the school system, and then helping transition some of their sports fields to organic as well. So we got some pilot projects set up and going in the school system, Minneapolis schools, and Minneapolis park systems.
Mm-hmm. I actually brought with me today one of our Be Safe Minneapolis hankies. So this was part of one of our efforts. We all got together and had a vigil at the top of the falls here when there was a pesticide application that killed a lot of native wildlife. So we got together as a community, and we made art, and we sang songs, and we told stories. We camped out overnight. And the pine over there is the high ground where I stood for a little while because it started raining. So that was the driest spot in the park. But yes, this is our Be Safe hanky to show our pride in the rusty patch bumblebee, which is our state bee. And it is endangered. It's a native bee. And we do a lot of work through our landscaping companies to establish habitat for native pollinators and rusty patch. So we do a lot of planting of bee lawns, which is great because it's a low maintenance, no mow, walkable space that has a lot of blooms so that it provides food for the pollinators as well as being an easy gathering space. And then we also work on prairie restoration, shoreline restoration, habitat of all sorts, including a food forest.
That's true. A part of our goal with Minnehaha Falls Landscape is to help clean up the watershed all along Minnehaha Creek so that we're not using any more synthetic fertilizers and pesticides throughout the Minnehaha Falls and Creek watershed. And we use our organic land care techniques to help transition lawns and gardens, like Chesney was saying, to bee safe lawns and food forests and pollinator gardens, all kinds of fun stuff. yeah, we could tell folks to visit MinnehahaFallsLandscape.com to learn more about bee lawns and food forests and organic lawn care, rain gardens, soil health, all kinds of wonderful ways that people can be involved in their own backyards in healing the ecosystem.